I had a whole cinematic plan for that. It didn't really work out how I wanted it to. It actually kind of looked like shit, so you'll never see the original plan that was meant to happen out of that. But I've left a little bit in just as a remnants of the past. So, yeah, this was going to be a lot longer than it was originally planned. I had about 4 or 5 guys I was going to do for this and talk about all their transfers, but that would have been about an hour long. So I just went with Flores Calderon because I thought his case is so fascinating and so individual. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, but also, if you want to get this out of the way, this is not affiliated with Flores Calderon at all. He has not told me where he's going to go. I asked him permission if I can make this video. He said yes. I do not know where he's going to go. I don't know at all. I have no idea. So, we'll have to wait and see together. That being said, like I said, enjoy the video. Let me know where you think Flores Calderon's going to go. And, enjoy. Thank you. Let's begin by painting a picture. Flores Calderon over the last 2 seasons has been in with the Milano Seamen. Now, in that 2 seasons, he's got over 1,500 yards, 17 touchdowns, set a then record for rookie receiving yards, and has been probably by far their best Italian player on that team over the course of the 2 years. So how do we go from this is a star in the ELF, he's going to be breaking records for many years to come to Milan, to I think he needs to leave? It's been no secret that Milan in 2024 have been shit, for lack of a better word, offensively, and the statistical drop from Flores Calderon has been attributed absolutely to this wishy-washy style of squad building. If you don't know about the ELF roster building rules, you get 2 A's in offense. They are the only team in the league at the start who chose to have an American running back rather than an American receiver. This led to Flores Calderon being on the American corner of the defense 9 times out of 10. Now, what a part of his game makes him a potential valuable asset for teams in 2025? So firstly, I've already done an evaluation I'll link in the description before the season about Flores' whole game, but to keep it short, he stretches the field, he's a dynamic playmaker, he's fast, he has good hands, he's explosive, he's young, he has a pretty undeveloped route tree, and he's very moldable for pretty much any offense in the league, and we'll get to that in a second. I think this is best symbolized in the last game of the season against Barcelona Dragons. Now, you can go all day about Barcelona's issues throughout the season, but long story short, he got 284 yards. This is 2 yards short of the all-time single game record. This shows how effective he can be when he's on European players, when he's playing free, when he's being targeted. The Milano team had a very obvious run identity at the start of the year. However, they changed the American running back, they changed the offensive coordinator, they changed the American quarterback, they changed receivers before the season had even started. This did not help with Flores Calderon's development throughout the year. However, he did make noticeable jumps. He's a lot more physical than he was last season. He's clearly put on size. He's a better blocker. So with all these distractions, he is still developed as a receiver, and that is incredibly exciting. So he's in the wrong scheme. He's in the wrong fit. Where does he go? The problems for Hamburg are plentiful, to say the least. 13th ranked passing offense in the league in 2024. Hamburg historically have been a rather run-first team, as shown in 2024, as shown with every other year they've been in the ELF. This doesn't exactly play into Flores Calderon's strengths. There are a ton of question marks on Hamburg's offense alone. Quarterback is definitely going to get changed. Fulford was not good enough when he came over there, never won a game. Receiver, Jarvis McClam got hurt halfway through the year. Taurus Justice didn't exactly light the world on fire when he was there. Offensive coordinator is going to be a question mark. Whoever was allocating E's and A's made some pretty poor decisions last year, and it led to their offense being pretty shit. So is Flores Calderon, who's escaping a bad team, going to want to walk into a team with less wins than Milan had last year? Right, so why is he going to want to go there then? Even though there are a ton of question marks in this team, there is absolute potential with it. Jacob Neubauer did very well as the complementary receiver to the Americans. You have Alvarez Plata, who's a very good young safety. Hartley Canedo, one of the better young running backs in the league. There's offensive line prospects, there's defensive prospects. There's a mix of young talent within this team that makes it potentially exciting over the next coming years. And with some of the other question marks, it could get rid of some of the bad, could bring in good, This one's a very much wait and see. You have to see who they bring in, see the changes they make before we can accurately say if Hamburg is a realistic option for a receiver as talented as Flores Calderon to realistically consider as an option as he tries to take that step up into be a reliable E player. So Hamburg have some question marks, right? We don't know what's going to happen with them in the offseason. A lot of changes need to be made, maybe one for the future, but who's a team that needs just a little bit of a pep in their step to get over the hump? And I think that is the Cologne Centurions. Now at first glance, the Cologne Centurions may not make a ton of sense. Their defense needs a lot more attention than their offense does, ranking 16th to 15th in a bunch of categories like passing, defense, and also points allowed. However, the Cologne Centurions finished 6-6, missed the playoffs, but their offense needs a spark plug. Isaiah Weed, although very fun, is extremely inconsistent. Was a lot more accurate than people gave him credit for, but threw a lot of picks when he started getting a little bit gung-ho and started going deep when he didn't need to. He is, of course, very talented on ground, finishing with over 700 yards, 8 touchdowns in 12 games. Jared Alman is one of the best young running backs in the league. Emil Fuchs had a really good rookie season. Dean Tawani and Adom really give that running game some more depth. Their running back room might be one of the deepest in the ELF. Then the receivers. Carlos Hill in only 9 games established himself as one of the best receivers in the league with 919 yards and 10 touchdowns. Lorak, Frolik and Bolfender, that German talent trio, was invaluable to the end of season, getting him back on track and leading to some big wins down the stretch. With JFC, you add some stretching of the field to the sideline, as well as developing his short and intermediate tree, which is something that he's a little bit lacked in his time in Milan. This would make him a better receiver, but would be at some risk of the club where they have to develop him rather than use his skill set fully. This is one of those moves that if it works, you're a genius. If it doesn't work, then he never really fit the scheme anyway, and it was kind of just trying to put a square piece in a circle puzzle. It really just depends on how it would pan out, but I think it's an interesting potential nevertheless. Another one that people have been talking quite heavily about, given his Spanish ancestry, is the Madrid Bravos. Now logistically, this one makes sense. Madrid have had a history with Madame Siestro of taking in players with dual citizenships. It makes it a lot easier to bring the players in for visa issues, that's for sure. However, he is an Italian homegrown player. He would not count as a homegrown for the Madrid Bravos. He would be an E, which is good for him because he's going to get different pay allocation. Would be a costly of an E spot for the Madrid Bravos. You'd probably have to pick between him and Madame Siestro. Here's the big thing. Madame Siestro is probably a better scheme fit than Flores Calderon is in Madrid. He's bigger, he's a more physical blocker, he provides something different on that offense. Flores Calderon is shiftier, quicker, probably a better ball player. However, they already have Mario Flores, they already have Willie Patterson, and a couple other players like Edu Perez who are coming through who are able to do similar things. I see this one get talked about a lot, so I wanted to address it. However, although it seems to make sense on paper, I think it's probably the least likely of the ones we've talked about so far, just due to the fact that he would be not a great scheme fit. They have players that already offer what he offers, and they would need a little bit more blocking physicality with their run game with Dwayne Obi being their kind of their identity at the moment. It could open up some opportunities for them against Ryan Fire in a recent wildcard matchup. We did see receivers struggle with separation. It would give Duncan or Helbig, whoever they choose to go for, is a bit of a conundrum at the moment, an option on that offense, just furthering that speed and shiftiness they do have in their receiver core. It's just a bit of a difficult one. I don't see it as having as much, but you never know. It's football. Another really popular one is the Warsaw Panthers. Warsaw is fascinating. 15th ranked passing offense in the league. A large that I'm sure everyone's going to comment is the quarterback issues. Several quarterbacks. Matty Ice, Duncan, Uribe, Norwood. They had a ton of players playing a quarterback this year, which doesn't exactly paint a picture of stability for a receiver who's going to try and make development in his game. Secondly, obvious run team. Kennedy Adams, although he played a lot of receiver, is a natural running back. David Brzozowski is one of the best running backs in the league. Probably going to be a 2-time All-Star. He's definitely earned that, and he is a phenomenal homegrown player for them. As of now, they still have NFL veteran Matt Cole. We don't know if he's going to return. Hopefully he does. It was nice to see him on the field when he was there, but he was consistently hurt, which also does not paint the picture of consistency for the receiver trying to make development. Wrocław also has a ton of Polish talent that goes massively under the radar in that receiver core. Obviously, I did a whole video about Zizlewski. I'll link that in the description as well. He was the leading Polish receiver. Jakub Marzin and Bernat didn't exactly light the world on fire in the second half of the year. Only 9 games and 8 games played, and combined had about 263 yards. So not great from those two. With Zizlewski in particular, he is a young, space-creating, fast, pretty athletic receiver who they're going to want to prioritize his development rather than someone else that will cost an E spot. As a homegrown, he is extremely valuable. As an E, you only get 6 of them per team. They may be looking to allocate that more on the defensive side, considering their issues, and then try and nail down a quarterback a little bit more before they start trying to find his weapons. Overall, it is an interesting move. I'm not ruling it out. It's just a lot of inconsistency, a very prominent run game, and the board are probably going to want to put more emphasis on developing Zizlewski, who is a Polish national and is easier to retain. This one is very popular among fans at the moment, so I can see it potentially being upon the top. I think they could offer him some good development. He would be a good scheme fit in terms of what they've ran, but it's hard also to judge their scheme because they've played 4 different quarterbacks and now they've transitioned from a receiver to play quarterback. It's a very complicated and convoluted issue, and I think they need to get that sorted before they can start even thinking about young weapons they're going to bring in to try and further develop their game. One I haven't seen a ton of fanfare for, but I think could be one of the more interesting moves, is actually Frankfurt Galaxy. Okay, so hear me out. There's a lot of moving issues with this one that could or could not influence it. First and foremost, the coaching. There's going to be a lot of coaching staff changes. And then, quarterback. McKay broke his leg, unfortunately. Luke did not play well while he was there. At receivers, they already have Kevin Kye, who is an elite receiver. Markel Castle, who is a former Triple Crown winner and one of the best receivers in the league pretty unanimously. The Shum brothers, who are good complementary players. Nico Straman, Paul Lenhart. Even Sandro Platzkommer, who got involved with the run game and pass game this year. So why are they going to need a new receiver, especially an E spot? I think they're going to lose some people. They've had a pretty calamitous year. I'm not sure who they're going to lose. I have no inkling of who they're going to lose, but they might lose one of them. And this is what the hypothetical is based off of. If they lose Kaya, then I think they go up JFC. If they don't, I think they just stay with Kaya. That's the big question mark. Because it was such an odd season for Galaxy fans. They want to be in championship contention. I think they'll do anything to get it. Bolstering the receiver room, when it's already stacked, it would be questionable. But if they lose some weapons, getting some more young talent, I don't think it's the worst idea. Is it unlikely? Yes. Is it probably not going to happen? Probably not going to happen. But it's fun to theorize. And last, and certainly not least, I want to talk about the Rhine Fire. Spoiler alert, this is my favourite out of all of them, and for a multitude of reasons. Let's start with the coaching staff. You've got Andrew Windinger, who's the offensive coach this season. If he is retained next year, he chooses to stay. You have a person with NFL experience when it comes to receivers. That's an incredibly attractive proposition to a young player who's trying to make a step up in his development. Not only does this help with coaching, route combinations, route tree development, etc., he also fits into this receiving group phenomenally. McKnight, if he stays, if he's retained next season, he's going to be the #1 guy. He's going to take the American corner. Harlan Crofty, who will be there next season as he signed a 3-year deal last year, is my #1 European receiver in the league. He's better than a lot of Americans that are on show. He's going to be taking up the #2 corner. JFC could put in some fucking damage on a nickel or a #3 cornerback on these teams. They signed Sagner at the beginning of last year and that didn't quite work out. They've had E's kind of dotted around. They've got an running back who is probably going to be the MVP, Mr. Glenn Tonga. They've got an offensive line that's going to allow Flores Calderon to have more development in his routes. He's not just going to be on go routes every single game because his offensive line can't hold up to give him a more developed tree. He's going to be receiving balls from a former MVP Jadrian if he again chooses to stay next season. The only reason JFC potentially might not look at Ryan as a viable option is that he will see a decrease in his targets because he will probably be receiver 3 on this depth chart. But if he wants to win, Ryan Fire is probably the best place to be at the moment, pending this season's playoffs. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. What's most important for Juan Flores Calderon? Does he want to stay somewhere comfortable? Does he want the sun? Honestly, environment is a big part of it. Does he want to develop? Does he want to be with a good coaching staff? Does he want to be with a good quarterback? Does he want to help rebuild a team? Does he want to explore different countries? That's up to him. Completely up to him. All of this is up to him. He can start talking to Milan, I think, around October, end of that. He'll then be allowed to start talking to other teams around November time. And that's when things will probably start getting moving in this offseason for him and for every other player in this league that isn't signed on to a multiple year contract. Again, I want to reiterate, this is all speculation. I am not representing Flores Calderon. I am not saying this is where he's going to go. I'm not saying he's going to leave. He might stay in Milan. I'm not saying any of that. This is purely speculation. This is purely me debating with you and talking to people about where one of our best young talents is going to land this season. I think it's important to do this kind of stuff. I refrained from it last year. I want to do it this year, of just talking about some of our best young talents, because they deserve to be talked about. They deserve to be mentioned. And this is what fucking sports media is all about. And analysis work is all about, is finding where these players could land and potentially coming up with some fun scenarios, because what would it be without that? So that will see us here. I usually end on my phone, but we're going to finish on the webcam of the laptop this time. Streams have been good. I don't think I have any public announcements coming up. I'm just going to be trying to get a bunch. If you watched the streams last weekend, you would have known all about my schedule and what I'm going to be starting to do. I might be doing a Masters in the next couple of weeks. I really don't know when that's meant to be starting, to be honest. The university hasn't told me yet, so we'll see. But this was good fun. Thank you for staying this long. If you have, like, subscribe, do all that. Let me know if you want me to do this for more players in the future. I have some ideas. I'd like to do David Brzozowski. I think that would be a really fun look into where he could end up. ELF Live, done. Thursday, and obviously the games on the weekend that you guys tune into. Or if you can't tune into it, watch me react to it live. That's all I've got. Thank you for staying. Thank you to everyone, and Flores Calderon for approving it. Again, I'm not affiliated. I just asked him if I could do this kind of video, and he was like, sure, do whatever you want. So, thank you very much. See you later. Stay sharp. Goodbye.